Here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there, that guy. That is John, your resident millennial. The man.
The myth.
No, I was just giving. That's the best I can come up with.
I'm also a myth. At the same time, it's not clear whether or not I exist or have existed in the past.
I would posit that it's your manhood that's the myth. Okay, folks, welcome to the show. John, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Coming at you live from the ballsack of America.
We are definitely the penis of America.
It is
something
to behold. Florida. Whew.
Something to be held.
It's funny. We're going to touch on that in a moment because I just saw a story and I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah. Local. We don't do much local, but
like how local?
Like our town local.
Nice.
Local.
Even better.
It's a commentary piece in our local news rag, one of our local news rags. But anyway,
nice.
John, we've got an exciting show, chock full of nuts, corn, all the exciting things you would expect when one is just shooting the shit. But
I like it.
I tell you right now, I'm excited because I now know of something that's going to be happening this Friday that very few people might or might not know about.
Yes, but first to address what Midget B is saying in the chat, what the hell is John doing with his beard? Well, it's a funny story. Robert said that I wouldn't do it.
What?
And then so I did it.
I didn't say you wouldn't do it. I said just
yeah,
do it.
Did.
No, I told you to quit shit or get off the pot.
You thought I couldn't do it.
No, I said you keep talking about doing it, and you just haven't done it. I'm like, you've mentioned doing it, you just haven't done it. You just do it. That's what I told you, and then you're putting it all together, and I'm like, do it. And just so you'll know, he didn't want to go out in public. He didn't want anybody that's in the house to see that he had his beard this way. He'll broadcast it out on the internet webs.
It's totally different on the internet than it is IRL,
Right. So much less embarrassing, right?
It is, yeah. I can't see the people laughing at me.
Right.
So,
or hear them continuously as you're trying to record a show.
right, exactly. Very disturbing. Hey,
there's Cameron Michael. Midget B, it's good to see you.
It's already happened, dude. Oh,
RRC in the house. Showing up to shoot the shit. Patriots, I like it.
Yes, now that we have a couple people here, this coming Friday, our very next show, may indeed be the last show for a while that you'll see this glorious beard.
That is the hope.
Because we are having our 12-hour live stream for Salvation Army. Have we made the GoFundMe yet?
Nope. We were. I went ahead and did what I said I was going to do, and waited to verify that that's what we were going to go with. If anybody had any changes or suggestions to talk about,
there you go. RRC will be on his show immediately following ours, so make sure you go and watch him after that. Because he's awesome.
Big surprises tonight.
Fuck. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Ooh, I am excited. I see an Amazon delivery in my future. Ooh, I can't wait. I like it.
So anyway, yes, Friday, 12-hour live stream for Salvation Army. Like I've said before, we have a couple of awesome guests that are coming on, one of which is Matt Christensen, who we've had on, 7-8 months ago, something like that. And then his co-host for his podcast, Blonde, is going to be here as well at a different time. And Short Fat Otaku, Dev, is going to be here as well. And actually, Anna Voltis and Matt Christensen will be having a discussion about natural rights and whether or not they exist. So, very much looking forward to that. And I hope you guys are too.
That is the question, though, isn't it? Do they?
Yes.
Do they exist?
But we'll find out on Friday.
The truth is out there.
We'll find it on Friday.
Will
And
we?
also, if we reach our goal, if we raise enough money to reach our goal, this glorious beard that is before you shall be gone.
And what
It will
is
not be in existence
that
anymore.
minuscule goal, John?
$1,500. 1,500 U.S. American dollars. I don't want to see into that like fake Canada shit, especially that fake Canada shit. I mean, I guess we'll take some of it. Fair enough. Well, fine, you convince me. But yes, I will be shaving my beard live on the air in front of everyone for that.
I'm really
WR26, how you doing? I haven't seen you before, so that's awesome. Welcome.
I'm excited to find out if we can make this happen. I think we can. I think we can make this happen. $1,500 isn't a lot of money when you really think about it.
We almost reached our goal the last time we did a 12-hour stream, so we've got some big names coming on, so it's very, very possible.
Right. All we need is 150 people to pass through during that 12 hours. 150 different individuals, all donating $10 each. Right? Yeah. And we're good. We're good to go. See? We're good.
Hell yeah.
I like it. John, your beard, guess what? It's gone.
Oh, look at it,
It's
though.
gone.
Look at it in all its glory. And that it can be yours. The low, low price. $1,500.
Whew. I'm just glad I don't have anything I'm willing to cut off.
It's also all natural.
Anna Voltis in the
organic.
house. The myth of manhood airing this spring. See, he liked it.
Nice. He did.
All right. So, John,
Robert.
The local thing I was talking about, it's just funny.
Yes.
This is one of those where the headline catches me, so I start reading it. And it's just an op-ed piece by the author is Shannon Green. And it's, my 2-year-old's afro bothered a daycare worker. Why black hairstyles need protection in Florida.
Oh, God. Okay.
So...
Who's bothered by the fucking afro?
Yeah, they wanted her. They were complaining about her hair being like not normal because it's braided and all of that, and because as the author is saying, you do this, like, go through this process. Here's how she describes it. She compares it as worse than her C-section because she had drugs for that, and it was quick and pretty well over quickly. She says, now I get slapped and kicked by a 25-pound mixed martial arts champion for 2 hours while attempting to detangle her thick mane before parting it into neat sections to braid in beautiful protective styles. But they complained about it at her daycare because of the way it looked. The hairstyle itself bothered the daycare worker, so now there needs to be protections for that. Like,
protections? What does that mean? Like, just because someone's bothered by the hair, you have to be protected by it? Like, someone's attacking you?
Because they went so far as stories like these are why our city and our representative are pushing legislation to help make Florida the third state to give protective hairstyles such as dreadlocks, twists, and cornrows protection from discrimination by employers and educational institutions. Afros are offered more federal protection by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which defines hair texture among characteristics of race discrimination. Hairstyles like dreadlocks are vulnerable to discrimination because the Supreme Court has not yet ruled this to be an immutable characteristic which the government recognizes as physical attributes that are perceived to be unchangeable or innate.
My beard needs to be protected. Hang on. I'm seeing a loophole here. My beard needs to be protected. I demand legislation to protect my beard from this Friday. Demand it.
No. That's different.
Damn.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Matt the Man. Do we know Matt the Man? Have we met Matt the Man?
He was on Friday, last Friday. He
That's
was hanging out
correct. That's
to
correct.
talk about guns. Yeah,
I'm 51 years old, so I don't remember it last yesterday.
yeah, he's
Uh,
ancient.
I had to shave 2 years off yesterday. I feel your pain. We're talking guns. Are we talking guns at all
Talking
night?
guns at all tonight. I don't think we'll be talking about guns directly. However,
Unless there's
we'll be
something
talking
specific.
about we'll be talking about the need for guns.
The
Why
need for
citizens
guns.
need to have guns. That will
Because
definitely be
because
discussed
people
tonight.
like John are out there.
That's right. The spirit is a lethal weapon.
Ed in the house. Speaking of Ed, I was on a rousing Ed's World today. It was
Yes,
fun and
I was
exciting.
roused.
Were you? It's good
I
to know.
was.
I know. I like to know that I'm still having an impact on the younger generations. But that was a fun thing. If you haven't checked it out, you should go check it out.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good little show. We talked about all sorts of stuff. We did talk about guns. We talked a little bit about gun legislation in front of the Supreme Court right now, Ilhan Omar. We talked about our illustrious Donald Balboa.
That's right. Yeah.
Donald Balboa, I like it. And a couple of other things that early on in the show that Ice did we Ice Baby, we talked a little about them. That's
Yeah.
some stupid shit. I'm just like, damn, that's got my head all tangled up. But definitely go check out Ed's World on YouTube and check him out on
Yeah.
Ed's blog on Twitter. I'm trying to remember. We should get his. John, go put his links in our description. I dare you. I dare you to put his links in our
No,
description.
I already did one dare for the night.
All right. I dare you not
No,
to.
we'll put it in there.
Don't
worry.
you do it, Don. Don't you dare do it, John. Don't you
I
dare.
won't. You're
Don't.
gonna do it.
No, don't you dare do it.
I'm not. You're gonna do it.
No. Anyway, but no, that's so John. I mean, I don't know. So that's an interesting thought right there, though, right? Should hair be protected?
My hair should be protected.
Well, I mean, because that argument can be made about a beard, right? A beard is a naturally
Absolutely.
occurring thing, so a company shouldn't have the right to tell
Right.
you must be clean shaven to work there.
And as a neckbeard on the internet, it is an immutable part of my characteristic. So, or immutable characteristic of my race, I guess.
Well,
So
I mean, it's just being a human that your hair is going to grow, right? You have to physically do something, to make that go away. You
right,
have
but
to
as
change
but as
your
an
body.
as an actual neckbeard though, like this just grows in all voluptuous like this, just amazing and glorious like that, naturally.
You know
I don't
what?
do anything to it.
You know what? There's a point where you're just going to have to stop talking about your beard.
No,
And,
that's all that
and talk,
matters.
That's at Ed's blog Twitter with a 1 in place of the.
That's an I.
Is that an I?
That is an I, not a lowercase l. That is an I. I. All right.
No, that's an L. With a 1
Oh my
instead of the
God.
L in blog, I guess, right? No?
Yes.
I haven't.
Stop
At my
confusing people.
at my
Robert.
age, I can't figure things out. No,
Yeah,
I'm confused.
don't do that.
I'm not trying to confuse anybody else. I'm just trying to resolve my confusion. I need to make a confusion check. Where's
It's
my
a 1 in the
dice?
place of the I. Trust me.
Where's my dice?
What are you gonna roll for perception?
Right, no, just something.
What?
Arcana.
Oh my God. So anyway, what's we have a first topic, don't we? Other than the
Yeah.
stupid hair story.
Yeah. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. Because I saw this an article that's talking about sex offenders being able to use
Oh yeah.
dating apps. Now it's on BuzzFeed, so it's just an article. It may but it's talking about cases where a woman meets a guy on whatchamacallit, on Plenty of Fish, and she was catfished basically by this guy, and so winds up being a bad guy. But it's talking specifically about Tinder, and they allow sex offenders on their site. But can you stop that? Can you police that? What can you do? I mean, and should that be a standard? And should
Well, so I mean, once whatever sentence they're given is served, then they get all their rights back for the most part, unless they're like serial offenders, I think, or something like that. There's like tiers. There's like a sex offender and like a sexual predator. But those are two different,
But
tiers.
sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, um, I believe it is like when if you're under like house arrest or something like that, they take your electronics and stuff, so you can't get online during that time, or without going to to prison if they find out about it. But other than that, once you're done, I mean, you're probably on the list for a while or whatever.
Well,
But
I was just going to say, if I'm not mistaken, you never come off the list
I don't know. I don't know
because
how it works.
you have to register as a sex offender for even for mundane things
All
that
right,
fall.
Matt, the man. We'll see you.
But yeah, it's it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you know, should they, you don't leave the database, so should they be checking, and should it be happening across all social media? I mean, seriously,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
because
something
once you've
that
served your time, and then you could just access again.
I think that's something that the social media sites should, you know, figure out for themselves. Because I
Okay.
wouldn't want. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want someone to be like ostracized and shit after they've served their sentence. You know what I mean? Like, because the whole point of serving a sentence, you're paying your debt to the community, and then you're supposed to be able to rejoin the rest of the world after that.
Yeah, but the argument there is that just because you did the time doesn't mean that the mental condition that
Oh
is
well, yeah.
associated was taken care of. So once a sex offender, always a sex offender, right? That's
I
why you
mean,
remain on the
according to the law, yeah.
database. That's why you remain on the database.
The
And
thing
so
is, with
you're
that database,
ostracized.
but the definition of a sex offender is very vague. Like you can be on a sex offender list for public urination for taking a piss on a tree
Exactly. But
outside. You know what I mean? So like, do you think that should happen for that, or should it just be
no,
for
I
people
don't.
who have actually like harmed someone
Sure.
before the
I
list?
agree with that. But that doesn't change the fact that it's that way, and that those people with the lesser crimes still have to be treated the same way as the ones with the greater crimes, and they still have to be in specific places to live. They have to alert the neighborhood. They have to be out there on a map for everyone to see.
Right.
Um, I mean, is I mean, you have to question those cautions. I mean, do we not have to question those cautions? Are those too far reaching even for the greater offenders? Where do we draw a line? And, God, it's a it's fucked
Yeah, it's
up. I
a
don't agree with most
touchy
of it, to
one.
be honest with you,
Get
because
it?
most
Get
of
it? It's a touchy
it
one.
is a touchy one. Yes,
Get it?
I understand.
'Cause
Wait a minute.
molestation. Yeah, but no, I mean it really is like a tough call to make. It really has to be done like on an individual basis,
Yeah,
on a case by case.
it is one of those things that just gets completely blanketed by an
Yeah,
abstract law. That
right.
just a far-reaching net that I think there are many groups around the country that fight to, and these are not like crazy groups like NAMBLA or whatever. It wasn't NAMBLA, but I'm talking about
Are they even still around, Nambla?
yeah, NAMBLA will never die off.
I guess.
I mean, it's always going to be part of human culture. That kind of thing. I mean, I'm sorry, Greco-Roman what?
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, no, it's what was I saying? Oh no, but
I don't know.
parents and loved ones of people that have been wrongly, ostracized and dealt with in
Hmm.
these cases, fighting for better legislation and reform of how these laws work in different places. But anyway, no, it's I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but no, it's
Yeah.
but we I would say the internet is too easy for kids to get access to.
Yeah.
There's no way to there's no security on the internet. I mean, we can say parents are the security feature for kids and the internet, but I'm thinking there's a pretty fat attrition rate there that nobody is paying enough attention to.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, kids are crafty too. I mean, they're pretty good at hiding stuff from their parents. So who knows?
well,
But
I mean, to be honest with you, man, if I wanted to get really authoritarian with it, I wouldn't go that route. I would just go the route of, okay, children don't have devices anymore. It's not your child is not allowed to have a device under the age of 13, 14 years old, somewhere around there. And then it's sketchy, and then they're not allowed to have smart devices, no access to the internet until they're,
yeah,
18 and an adult. But that's just me, a father of
Jesus,
girls. I have a little bit
yeah,
of a skewed view, right? No, it's but these guys rape full grown women too, and sexually offend
yeah.
other women. I don't know, rapists do. If you're convicted of rape, do you
Right.
lose all
I
those
mean, you take that
privileges for good?
chance. You take that chance anytime you go onto one of those dating sites. You don't know who you're going to meet. You always face that risk, especially if the person who hasn't been, you know, found, who hasn't done it before. Someone who hasn't committed the crime before.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a first time for everything,
Well, if
and
if I were a lawyer, my argument would be this: is this is we are in a day and age of digital communication where that must be incorporated into the fabric of many crimes now. Legal, laws that are broken. You have to factor that into the repercussions. You know, we don't. Do you want rapists having access to people out there when they've been convicted after they've done their time? Because again, are we rehabilitating the crime, or are we rehabilitating the criminal?
yeah,
That part is not necessarily happening. We have repeat offenders constantly
yeah.
in our society. You know,
I definitely think that moving from a punishment aspect to more of a rehabilitation one would be a good idea for our prison system.
I mean, yeah,
Because a lot of people, first of all, especially for non-violent offenders, we can, we're not talking about rape anymore, but especially for like non-violent offenders, that would be a great way to kind of stop, what's it called, recidivism, people who
right,
commit crime and go back
right.
to prison constantly. Um, I mean, that would at least curb that. And then, yeah, when it comes to violent crimes like rape and murder, um, if it's something where they're going to be able to get out at some point, I definitely think pushing more towards rehabilitative rather than punishment would help out a lot.
Now, see that, and that's kind of a Yang approach when he talks about where we're at in this country and talking about the benefits of criminals receiving more mental help
Yeah,
than jail help. He said it's
right.
this is probably better for us than just constantly throwing people in jail for years.
That's the
Career
biggest.
crime is the best crime, Michael Vick. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting mindset that it's reached the point where our justice system does need to be revamped. I agree, but in that revamping, we must now consider incorporating a digital component that rides through everything that it would pertain to, especially when it comes to
Hmm.
um, what am I saying? The repercussions of the crimes, the sentences,
Well,
etc.
so let me ask you this though: is going on a dating site more, or is it that dissimilar from like going to a bar and picking up women? I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
there's an intent thing there
sure.
where putting yourself on the dating site shows intent to date someone, but then
Let's
you have to take them to a real life location. Whereas
let's
if you're at a bar, they're already there, and
sure.
no one's checking IDs on the way in unless they're looking at your birthday. You know what I mean? They're not doing background checks on you before you go in the bar, and the same thing can happen there, as can happen on a dating site.
Actually, from having spent a lot of time on dating sites throughout the years, because I've just always found them intriguing um, and useful. I'm going to say useful. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
Um, it is very easy to have that first meeting occur either at your place or her place.
That sounds
like she doesn't make very, very smart decisions, whatever.
I guess she's dating you, so I mean.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, this is not uncommon for people to hook up
pretty
directly
stupid.
from online, right?
I would never do that. That's retarded. That is literally retarded.
Well, the key here is, whether or not you're being catfished. Whether it's not, like some of these guys are doing, where they're putting out that they're some younger, hotter guy, and when it all turns out it's an older, somebody else, just some freak show. Whatever, but that's the thing. That's why the online platform, social media, all of that is so beneficial to that kind of to rapists and predators, because it's so much easier to reach a conclusive point, because it's that keyboard warrior safety you feel when you're behind your keyboard, right? You feel a sense of invulnerability, and it doesn't click in the naive that you're about to take that from behind the keyboard into the real world. And where is your destination? What's your destination? Are you thinking? Now, Michael Vega, I will say this. I'm just going to say, dating sites have been around for quite some time, almost as long as the internet, because, people saw quickly back in America Online that hooking up would happen through the internet. So, going all the way back to just the, 20-something Georgia room, whatever, it's been going on for a long time. And once upon a time, it wasn't as dangerous. I mean, we were riding the high wave from the sexual revolution in the 70s. The 80s were like the shit. Right up and around that, till that monkey thing happened. Some monkey with something. He ate a bad banana or something.
Someone fucked a monkey, and then Freddie Mercury got it. That's exactly what happened.
So right up until that time, it was just a free and easy day and age. And even into the 90s, there was, because people were still trying to, figure out what the fuck was going on with AIDS. So it was still pretty promiscuous. But yeah, that was the dangerous living that you were doing at that point in time. But the other part of it, I didn't feel like those guys were going to rape me. Lucky you, boomer. Yeah, see, that's the beauty of it. I had my fun, my heyday, which you guys are getting to enjoy now in your totally PC world, and your super super careful and super highly unsaturated fat lifestyles, and while I had my fun. Now I just get to the memories are awesome. Sometimes I can just veg for a full hour, 2 hours, just thinking about fun I used to have. Back in a easier time when Earth Girls were easy.
I've seen that movie.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. But...
It's a good movie. That's the thing, John.
It's one of those bad movies that are good.
Right, it's bad, the bad. Like, yeah. It's because bad to good movies are on that spherical sphere, or spectrum.
Really?
Spherical spectrum. Sphere? The spherical sphere. No, a spherical spectrum. So they're like just this far apart, right?
Right.
So if you can bridge that gap with somebody like, say, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Dean Monk in the house. What's up?
In the house. Ho, ho, ho. So he's got a busy night tonight.
That's right.
Is that the lineup? Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
That is such a degrading thing to say. I in no way endorse hoes.
Or hoery.
Hoery.
Yeah.
But I do endorse hosiery. I'm a big fan. Hosiery? Are you familiar with the term?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure? Or are you just saying
pretty
yes?
Sure. No, I'm
yes
pretty
to be
sure.
one with your generation and just nod at everything. Yeah, I know. What is it?
Isn't that the like the stockings, kind of you put up your legs? And
stockings and pantyhose, hosiery.
Yeah.
All of it. Stockings, pantyhose, whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever. I don't wear those, so I'm not familiar with how to.
So please, anybody in the chat, please let us know which type of hosiery you prefer to wear.
Yes, please do.
Then that could get us some fun answers. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know, John. This is a very convoluted thing. You know, when you talk about revamping the justice system in this day and age, you better factor in all this online bullshit. You got to factor it all in. There's just you got to. Kids, and people of lower capability or
lower IQ,
ignorance. No, I'm going to say ignorance. Naive, ignorant. Yeah. It's whether it's kids, whether it's men, whether it's women. I mean, men deal with problems in these kind of situations too. But if you're going to safeguard everything, I mean, you got to go that way. But is that too authoritarian? Probably so.
Probably. It says tube socks are hosiery.
Tube socks are hosiery, but you know what I meant, you bastard. You bastard. All right, John. But outside of that, I don't. You know me. I don't even like to talk. So.
So let's play a video.
I was going to mention you had pointed something out to me, and hopefully this will come out. So I'm going to stress this very much. Don't even really too much try and pay attention to the volume, the voice on this. It's all going to be subtext because it's Chinese.
So make sure you're watching and not just listening.
Yeah. Because what was killing me was just trying to put the voices, who was talking at what time, but. And I was like, I don't think it matters. But anyway, so yeah, John, if you would like to introduce us to said video, I'll have that ready to go.
And before I do, I want to say we've got 5 people watching now, and only 1 like. So if you guys could like the video, that would be freaking awesome.
Naughty.
And then, but for the video that we have here, there's a video that came out of China. Not sure if it was leaked or intentionally posted. But it's a guy being interrogated by the police there because he made a joke at the police's expense on the Chinese social media. Their whatever WeChat or whatever the fuck it is. Guy apparently made a joke at the police's expense. So let's see what that looks like. You want to roll the clip, Robert?
Working.
叫什么名？叫陆华。知不知道为什么他过来了？知道，我知道错了。怎么是错了？我喝酒喝多瞎溜达。你在哪干什么工作？在家生活不搁，在家送俺爸。啊，送病号啊。那么怎么事在群上微信上讲一些警察的事？什么时候？昨天。昨天什么时候？昨晚上9点多钟。这微信上讲的啊？微信是有群吗？这外边就是骑摩托车，不知道谁发个图片，都给一个我就讲一句。群上总共多少人？70多人。那是怎么讲的？你网名是什么东西？我路华追风路华。就追风路华呗。最近大伙儿怎么在网上讨论那个警察那个交警啊？讨论交警扣摩托车是吧？你觉得扣摩托车不对吗？对。当时怎么回事？当时为什么讲骂警察话？就是喝酒喝多了。喝多久昨天？喝完记录。骂警察什么意思？恨警察吗？不恨。那为什么骂？喝酒喝多了。喝多了，掉头就走了。本意是什么意思？什么本意都没有。没有什么意思呗。没有。就是在群里就是开玩笑呗。对，就是开玩笑，我就说一句开玩笑就完了。我这交警也不容易。我知道错了。讲的话是不是真心的？真心的。骂的话是真心的吗？不是。骂的话不是真心的。不是真心的，就是喝酒喝多了。那么现在你想对警察讲点什么吗？警察说对不起，我错了，我知道错了。 警察叔叔，对不起，警察叔叔，我错，我知道错了，原谅我一次，我再也不说了。
Wow. I think that the chat put it best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, indeed. Am I right?
Uncle Police.
Yeah, that's just an honorific. I've seen it in like other subtitled like movies and stuff that come out of China. It's more just like a respectful honorific than it is actually calling someone your uncle. Like it's just I don't know. It might
Yeah.
be the word is the same. I'm not sure.
That would be like us saying Mr. Police, though. Right?
Well, it might. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, don't fuck with the police there. That would have to be the NWA song. There would be "Don't fuck with the police."
Right. And Chen said it with authority. Oh man, made myself laugh. But yeah, this is the world communists want, you know. No.
Is this the
But-
world communists want, or is this the
Yes.
world that Xi Jinping wants?
They're the same thing. But
Well, they're not.
yeah.
I mean, are they the last? Who else is communist?
There's
Out there.
5 as far as I know.
But yeah, that's a pretty deep level of shit right there, right, to deal with.
Yeah.
Um,
And especially that wording, you know, things like what's wrong with the police confiscating motorcycles? Do you have a problem with the police? You know, why would you badmouth them? What's the issue? You know, what was your intention? Not only that, but the dude had posted that at 9 p.m. the night before. They got him like that. Fucking insane. That is insane.
I wonder how hard it is to get out of that country.
I don't know.
Well, I guess there's
I
a
mean-
wall all the way around it, isn't there? I mean,
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah, they can't escape into Mongolia, but oh man, but yeah, fucking horrifying, man.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. Because again, I'm like, I told you this off mic. It's another world. That's over there. I mean, if it were to
yeah,
start
but there's no
happening
reason
here,
why.
if
Yeah,
that
it very well might
Yeah.
not anytime in the near future, but it very well could.
yeah, that desk is some shit, right, Monk? That is,
Yeah.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
oh, you're not going anywhere. Us, we just
You're
put
not
them at a
going
table.
anywhere.
We just put them at a table with some manacles on. These guys. Oh no.
You get like the one
We can-
handcuff like
this
attached
would-
to the desk.
Yeah, this thing will roll
table
right
chair.
into the electrical chair slot and locks in. You're ready to go at any time. We don't.
Or they just like tape a toaster around him and just throw him in a pool.
You know how quickly we can pull together 12 people that are your peers?
Yeah.
They're just as oppressed as you, and they will say you're guilty.
Oh yeah.
Would you like
But
to
I mean,
skip that?
that's a look into a totalitarian government there. I mean, this is why we do not need to keep giving the government more and more power because they will use it. I mean, it seems like it's a very simple thing, to say, but people don't get it. People don't see shit like this. People are too comfortable in their lives. They're like, yeah, screw it, just let the government do more for us. And they don't always do things for you. They do it for themselves.
Okay, so here's the question I have to ask, and I've asked this question to myself. I don't know if maybe I've never put it to you, John, so maybe you can explain it to me. We're talking about a country that, while I understand it's very large, consists of somewhere upwards to 1.5 billion people.
Uh-huh.
And he's one man, and he has a military, but that military came from the ranks of that 1.5 billion people. They all understand what oppression is. They all understand what this kind of level of dictatorship, imperialism, whatever you want to call it is. It's ingrained in their history that emperors have, they have a history of emperors. And, so my question is, why is it so difficult for there to be an uprising in China that flips the script? Because my God, you would think from a revolutionary standpoint they have the numbers.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. What do you think it is?
Well, I mean, I think it's, one, they have strong
Familiarity? Familial.
familial ties. I couldn't say it for a second. I'm not even drinking tonight. Um, but yeah, so like ties to their family basically. Uh, and so obviously you going out or your son going out and fighting someone uh, leaves a burden on the rest of the family for one. The mass amounts of propaganda that are spewed at them daily from the day they're born to the day they die. That keeps them on the side of the government. Stamp downs like what we just watched. For a very simple thing. Made some joke about the traffic police. You know what I mean? You just get stamped down on that. You're all alone in that room. Even if you are trying to set up some kind of revolution, no one else is in that room with you except for the police. You know what I mean? That's got to be terrifying for that kid.
Well, I look at.
It's any number of things, though.
Because I look at China, and I swear to God, have you ever seen Bug's Life? The Disney movie
Yeah,
Bug's Life.
yeah.
Right, and it's all about this colony of ants that is oppressed by a handful of grasshoppers, and they eventually realize that if they all stand together as one large mass, they don't have to be oppressed. And I'm like, this is like fucking China.
Yeah.
That's China right there.
But they need an outside influence to show them that, and they're not getting that.
Why? Okay, so I guess it's. I mean, has the Chinese government been so good over the last 30 years of the internet at just completely keeping these people numb to the idea that there's something better than what they live in?
As far as I know, they've never had a completely uncensored internet. As far as I know, I'm not sure how long Xi Jinping has been in power and how long he's been doing that, but I mean they've been having problems before the internet started, so I imagine that, as soon as it came out, they just, censored it and put out their version of it.
How do they deal with foreign travelers being in their country, spreading the kind of things that foreign travelers will, like sunshine and happiness and shit like that? Because we come from a world where we're free. We can do and say what we want. I mean, that's got to impact people.
Yeah, but why would you talk out against the party, though, even if you could? What's wrong with the party, Robert? Do you have a problem? Do you hate the party, Robert?
Not while I'm sitting in this chair and being questioned. Right. No, not at all.
Right.
I won't do that again till you're not looking.
What did the Bai Zhao tell you, Robert? What did he tell you?
But see, you know what I'm saying. You've got to understand what I'm saying. This is one of those countries where, I would think the same thing if something like this was going on in India. And there's some pretty authoritarian things that go on in India, and it's like, okay, but you've got the numbers on your side. If unless there's just so much of the population that's just like, kind of like we are with, I guess, in a sense with Trump, where we've allowed this much. This next thing is not that bad. I guess we can live with this too. It's just a little more oppression.
So there's definitely a degree of that. Also, most of the population live in large cities. So one, you're gonna have a much larger police presence there. And two, you've got everyone else around you thinking the same way that you've been brought up. There's not a lot of new ideas being put out when it comes to political ideas.
Right.
It's just what the party tells you to think. What you've thought your whole life, what your parents have thought their whole lives, presumably, or at least since it was taken over, and they're teaching their children correctly. So you've got all that peer pressure to kind of conform. Um, and China's been a collectivist country for a very long time. In fact, most Asian countries are collectivist in nature. Um, so I mean, there's that. You don't want to step outside the norm. And the ones that are living out in like the agrarian areas, kind of like the rural areas, they're not. First of all, they're not very numerable, and they're very very poor. And most of them can't. Some of them can't read or write. A lot of them can't read or write. They don't have money, like I said, for like weapons and things like that. Even if they could, they're not going to have the right kind of weapons to go up against the military or even the police, probably. It's just it would be very very difficult for that to happen, unfortunately.
Wow, and it isn't. It's like.
And that's the thing. That's what I was saying before when I was talking about. We're going to talk about why citizens need to have weapons. This is why. So things like this don't happen.
So let me ask you the question that has come to my mind while you were talking. So, I guess a two-part question. A, could that happen in this country? And B, what would be the driving force behind or the power behind that?
Of course, it can happen in this country. It can happen anywhere. Right, that is the end goal of government, is what we just saw. That is government at its peak.
I'm sorry, so qualify that. Every government?
Totalitarian control is the inevitable point that any government wants to reach. Maybe not like consciously, but government's job is to grow and gain power. And once you have all of that, you know what I mean, where do you go from there? That you're going to constantly grow and gain more and more power until you have it all.
Which is supposed to be exactly why the Constitution was laid out the way it was, to prevent that, supposedly.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And which is, of course, why our founding fathers wanted us to have guns. Wanted the citizens. That's what the whole point of the Second Amendment is, so that we can overthrow a tyrannical government should we need to.
Okay, so then
they didn't have that option over there.
So what would be the driving power? And it, and instead of just blanket the government, so would it be the president? Would it be corporate money? Would it be because we could assume it would probably come from the government, of course, right? But what would be the power behind it?
Well, so first of all, it's going to be asked for by the people to start with, which we're already seeing. People want censorship. People want, more strict gun laws, which of course will inevitably lead to no guns at all. So we have, those are already being asked for by certain factions in our own, populace. And so there's going to be that, and then there's going to be, coming from the government, coming from most of the legislators, you're going to see things like, we need to restrict freedoms for the good of the people, to protect people. It'll be brought about as safety. It's like, oh, we're going to keep you safe, so keep giving us more power, and we're going to keep you more safe.
While at the same time, we're doing this to appease the people as well. Of course.
Well, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
If people will agree with them, there will be people who agree with them, of course.
Right. And so then it'll just be a matter of the president who allows that first key legislation to go through without vetoing it, kicking it down.
I don't think there'll be one key legislation that opens the door to it. It's just going to be a bunch of little things.
Oh, really? There won't be a turning point that we'll reach.
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, you would.
I believe if there is anything that is sweeping censorship on the internet or media in general, like some of the things that have been bantered around, I could honestly say that would probably be the turning point.
That would be a good start, yeah.
Whoever allows that to happen And if we have a president that is not diligent on their watch, they'll let something like that go by, or they'll be fucking corrupt and they'll just be pushing.
They'll even be the ones, pushing for it. Yeah.
Push the party line and make that shit happen. Because effectively, the moment that we do have that level of censorship, the beginnings of what we saw in that video, we might as well not have elections anymore.
Yeah. Why?
Because right? I mean,
why would you?
You're right. We wouldn't need them any. We don't. It doesn't matter what the people say anymore, because now it's all open to censorship.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the government obviously knows best. So you just let the government make the decisions, and you go to work, and make sure you don't make any jokes at the police's expense.
So we just.
And the president absolutely does not look like Winnie the Pooh. For sure.
He looks. I think he looks a lot like a 1980s, 1990s Sylvester Stallone. That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah.
You?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he could. I think he could.
Chiseled musculature, everything.
I think he could be the next heavyweight champion. What's Mr. T doing these days?
Well,
and where's Dolph Lundgren? Get me Dolph Lundgren on the phone.
Didn't he just die recently? Had something happened with him
Who?
Recently. I don't know. Dolph Lundgren?
No, I didn't know that.
I don't know if he died, actually, but I know
or
something
I didn't hear anything, I should say.
I don't know.
No news is being reported on this event. John's just rambling.
Yeah.
He knows nothing.
I heard the name recently and something connected with him, but I can't remember what it was. So, speculation.
Might have just been a like a wet dream or something you had. Gotcha.
Could have been.
No, I don't know, John. This is. I don't know. Would you expect to see that kind of authoritarianism in this country in your lifetime?
I sure as fuck hope not.
It's not what I asked you.
No, I don't think so.
Give you a 70 to 80 years old. We'll say 80 years old average.
I ain't making it to 80, but
that's the next 50 years.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on a lot of things.
Like,
I don't think we'll get to that point, to the point that China's at in my lifetime, but we could certainly start moving our way towards there. And I want to avoid that at all costs. That's fucking horrible.
It's fun. And so now here's the thing. It's like, after watching over these last 2 decades compared to the 2 decades before them and the 1 decade before those two, how fast things can happen, especially in Washington. Like, we sit and we think that things are bogged down, but a shift can happen very quickly. Right? It's like 1 minute we're riding this really great financial wave, and then all of a sudden the bubble bursts and everybody is underwater on their mortgages all across the country, blah, blah, blah. Money, oh my God, 700 million, billion, whatever, bailout.
Yeah.
Things change at a moment's notice, right? So, I think about it and I'm like, okay, so would this happen in my lifetime? No, it wouldn't happen in my lifetime. And then I'm like, no, things happen so fast now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
I just don't think we'll get to that point in my lifetime, but we could very well make steps towards it.
I think something like that would not be qualified it would not qualify as a slippery slope. It would qualify as an avalanche. It would happen much faster than other things, because the first monumental thing that happens with censorship, is, it was a pretty big deal when movies had to start putting ratings on, like, music. The
first real one was the Patriot Act. That was the first real one that really.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like these censorship changes, like music, when they had to, people were pissed off that his music was going to start getting ratings on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you're going to kill our sales and this, that, and the other. And but no, you
Probably
will
did a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it affected things. And you know, there was a lot of discussion about it. You know,
Which is funny. I have a story about that. I forget what album it was. It was a CD. But I had gotten a CD and took it over to my friend's house. We were gonna listen to it in his room, and like his mom had come in and she was asking what we were listening to. So I picked up the case, but I slid my fingers over the explicit content label, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, it's this right here." And, you know, so I was holding it like that, but I was covering, you know, the explicit content thing. I was like, "Yeah, it's just this, you know, not a big deal." And she was like, "Okay," like, because she would have been the type that, you know, would have been like, "Oh, no, you can't listen to that. No, no, no."
right, being the good parent.
Right. Like I said, man, kids are crafty, you know. I was maybe like 11 at the time.
Yeah, it's it's funny. I mean, kids will be kids, and you know, it's so funny too. You know, being older, you think you're like, you goddamn kids need to stop trying to, stop doing this stuff. You know, don't. It's like, but goddamn it, I know what I was doing back then.
Yeah,
I know what I was doing. I'm like, oh, you hypocritical son of a bitch, you son of a bitch. And that's what I tell them. I'm like, you know what? You don't have to say anything. I'm calling myself a hypocrite in my head, but I'm still telling you,
Right.
you're in fucking trouble for doing that shit.
Right. Hey, I got in trouble when I did it, so now
Right,
it's your turn.
right?
Like,
Paying it forward, bitches. Paying it forward.
And you'll do the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I am going to curse them. One of these days, you're going to have a kid just like you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird to think about that kind of thing reaching that level here. It's you think about it. You know, it's like, one day in the future they'll be looking back and they'll be like, what, like if time they invent time travel, right? And they're like, we have one opportunity to go back and hit that linchpin point, that weak link that would just stop this from happening and change the future.
Yep.
And it's like, I even asked myself in the thought process, what if that was Trump being elected? Like him opening this door. Hold on, him opening this door to the the I don't give a shit president mindset. I mean, I'm not saying just bad things, but he's set a different standard for presidential decorum.
Yeah.
You have to admit. So, it's like,
thing is about a dictator is they absolutely give a shit.
And I'm not saying him being the dictator. I'm saying,
No,
if he opens the door for this kind of, a crazier level mentality coming into the presidency, what will somebody later on try and get away with or allow, or
Yeah.
It's like, so what would be the point that they come back in time to try and fix it?
Yeah.
But I thought the Avengers. Is it okay to talk a little bit of? I don't think this is a spoiler, but I love the way that they approach time travel, because I hadn't heard anybody throw this out there. Hey, it was really good. They were talking. It's like, you can't go back and change the past. So because when you go back in the past, the past has now become your future. So anything you do is only changing your future. It's not changing your past.
My God.
Right? And it's like, so all, and they're
Like,
being
man.
no, they're all they're like, you mean Back to the Future was a lie? Because Don Cheadle's
I
funny.
remember my first joint too.
Don Cheadle's like, so he's like, where did you guys learn about time travel? Don Cheadle's like, I don't know, Terminator, Back to the Future, Hot Tub Time Machine, almost every time travel movie in history.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, well, they're all wrong. They're all wrong.
Right. Anyway, Disney knows how to do it.
It's all parallel timelines, though. That's the thing. What you got to do is you got to break time space on, and you can pass through. It's like lanes of traffic, is what the timelines are like. There's divergent ones, and not divergent, but just parallel. And you go in, and there's just subtle changes as you run down this spectrum.
Yep.
So, but that's, not that I'm saying that's true. I'm just saying, playing Frogger on that shit is fun. But I'm not telling you I invented a time machine. I'm just saying I remember when I had this conversation the last time.
You know what's funny? I actually remember when I was a kid, someone who looked just like you, as you do now, come back and like slap me in the face. It was really weird.
Yeah, but aren't you glad? Aren't you glad I don't make you call me dad still? All right, so we're going to get the hell out of here, John. So tell us again, what is it this Friday?
Yes, Friday, 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. We are doing our 12-hour live stream for Salvation Army. We're gonna hopefully we can raise $1,500 for them. And if we do, then this magnificent, glorious beard.
So magnificent, you can't even pronounce it.
I can't say anything. I haven't been drinking. It's not my fault. I can only speak when I've been drinking. This one right here that I just parted like the Red Sea will be gone. I will shave it live on the air in front of everyone. And but in the meantime, before that happens, we have several special guests coming, including Matt Christensen, his co-host Blonde, and Short Fedataku, as well as our buddy here in the chat, Anavoltus, who will be having a discussion with Matt Christensen about natural rights and whether or not they exist. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. And that's all I got.
Awesome. And I believe you got something else. Because they can find us other than here. Is that correct?
Yes,
Is there some
absolutely.
way they could speak out to us, talk to us,
There
reach
is.
us?
You can follow us on Twitter at the Gen Gap P. You can join our Discord server. And you can go and check us out on freedomscoop.com, where you can buy some of our awesome merch. And also Freedom Scoop's awesome merch, but ours is awesomer. You can also use the promo code GenGap to get, 15% off? Yeah. And also the shipping prices have been lowered, which is even nicer. So it's even cheaper. Never been cheaper to get GenGap merch. So all that stuff is linked down below in the description. Also, Ed's channel will be linked by the time this goes up. So you can go and see Robert be on there earlier tonight. And I believe that's about it.
Yeah, that sounds like that's about it. So make sure, if you haven't done it already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that as well. We're going to be out of here until Friday. We're going to be doing our squats.
Yes.
We're maybe a little Pilates will be in order, John, before we get up there and run that 12-hour marathon. But until then, please make sure and join us, folks. Please keep talking about these things, and look for us on Discord. We'll have the link for the GoFundMe. I'm currently setting it up as we speak. It will get put in this description. It's going to be blasted on Discord, and it's going to be blasted on Twitter. Yeah. So watch out for it. Early donations are always greatly accepted. Outside of that, we're going to get the hell out of here, and we'll see you on Friday. John, peace out.
Yep, see you guys.